So this is a mimer on Parshas Ba'aleischa. It's the opening words of the Haftarah of Parshas Ba'aleischa, which also happens to be the Haftarah of Shabbos Chanukah, because Ba'aleischa is Ba'aleischa es haneros, the candles, and Chanukah is also the obviously theme of the candles. And this Haftarah from Zechariah has this vision of this golden menorah, which is why it's appropriate for Chanukah, golden menorah, is appropriate for Ba'aleischa, golden menorah. So we said that the Alter Rebbe, not Parshas Ba'aleischa, but on Shabbos Chanukah, questioned this Haftarah and said, why does Haftarah start with Roni Visimchi Bas Tzion? Many psukim actually are in the previous parak from seemingly the pasuk we're interested in, the pasuk that relates to Chanukah, which is seeing this menorah zahav, this golden menorah. And the Alter Rebbe answers because Bas Tzion refers to the Jews in Golos. And since obviously Chanukah is thematic of the Jews in Golos, we start with Roni Visimchi. And the Rebbe says, well, basically putting it in my words, not the Rebbe's, that's a great answer for why we open up the Haftarah of Shabbos Chanukah with Roni Visimchi Bas Tzion, Jews in Golos. But that is actually the opposite of Ba'aleischa. Ba'aleischa is always right after Matan Torah, right after Shavuos. And Shavuos, we're on such a high level. In Shavuos, we attained freedom, right? Al Tikri Charus, Serel Cherus. It's not engraved. It's free. When we received the Torah, we became free. So this isn't a Bas Tzion time. This isn't a Jews in Golos time of year. This is a free Jews, Jews free, Jews ascending, Jews high. Why are we emphasizing Roni Visimchi Bas Tzion? And to understand this, the Rebbe said, looking at the mimer of the Alter Rebbe on Shabbos Chanukah, Roni Visimchi Bas Tzion, the Alter Rebbe brings a midrash on this pasuk, connecting this pasuk to another pasuk, which happens to be the pasuk that the mimer we learned before, the mimer on Shavuos, was based on. Many Shavuos mimarim connect to this pasuk. Tzion, go out and see daughters of Tzion. So we understand why the Alter Rebbe brings this pasuk in. This is a pasuk from Shir Shira. Tzion. Our pasuk is from Zechariah. Roni Visimchi Bas Tzion. But Bas Tzion, Benos Tzion, we understand the link. So in the Alter Rebbe's Maimer on Roni Visimchi Bas Tzion, pasuk from Zechariah, he brings in this famous pasuk from Shir Hashirim that connects very much to Matan Torah, and that there are many Shavuos Maimarim that discuss this. Sen or ena benos Tzion, go out and see daughters of Tzion, benos Tzion, like our pasuk Bas Tzion, v'melech Shlomo, which is a reference to Hashem, v'atara she'itra lo imo, and the crown that his mother crowned him. And as I said, there's many Shavuos Maimers that touch on or deal extensively with this pasuk, and this pasuk is talking about the Jews before Matan Torah, when they crowned Hashem by saying Na'aseh v'nishma, and this was literally a central piece of the mimer we just learned on Shavuos. So in the Midrash, which the Alter Rebbe connects in this mimer of Chanukah, Roni Visimchi Bas Tzion, says a mashal to a king who has someone he loves so much he calls her his daughter. We, by the way, had this Midrash also in the mimer we just learned on Shavuos. And then he loves her even more, he calls her his sister. And then he loves her even more, he calls her his mother. Which means that there's three levels in our relationship to Hashem: daughter, sister, mother. And the Rebbe unpacks that to mean daughter, mitzvahs, sister, Torah, mother, Mesiras Nefesh, which takes tremendous bittul to have this Mesiras Nefesh. And this was us by Matan Torah, the mother image, because we gifted Hashem. We gave Hashem our Mesiras Nefesh. What was our Mesiras Nefesh? Our Mesiras Nefesh was saying Na'aseh v'nishma. Na'aseh v'nishma means we've got no clue, but we're on board. Like I had in a conversation with some phone representative this week, who I was asking the price for a product. And they said, oh, when you sign up and we're putting it in, then we can tell you the price. I'm like, I'm calling to find out if I should buy this product. And you're going to tell me the price when I commit and I'm signing up? That's what the Jews did. Na'aseh. We don't know what's going to cost us. We don't know what you're demanding. We don't know what the rules are. Na'aseh, we're in. Now, obviously, this concept of Na'aseh v'nishma is also a favorite topic of many, many Maimarim, and there's many, many levels of explanation. But here we're saying very simply, Na'aseh v'nishma, our bittul, fueled, Mesiras Nefesh, self-sacrifice. God, we don't know what you want, but we're committed. That's us as the mothers. V'atara she'itra lo imo, the crown that his mother, the Jewish people being Meiser Nefesh, to gift Hashem with this enormous, precious crown of Na'aseh and Nishma. So they said, so why are we reading the Haftarah of Bas Tzion after Shavuos when we are not the daughter? We're at the peak. We're at the pinnacle. We're the mother. And even more, when we know the Midrash on Parshas Ba'aleischa, that Ba'aleischa again is Ba'aleischa haneros, lighting the candles. And we are those candles. Ner Hashem Nishmas Adam. The neshama is God's candle. And the Midrash on Baloscha says, Baloscha Haneros, that we are illuminating to the one who illuminates the world. So we, the Jewish people, Ner Hashem Nishmas Adam, the candle of God is the soul of man, our souls, we are illuminating to the one, God, who illuminates the world. So again, me illuminating to God is not me as a daughter. Daughter is recipient. It's me as the mother. So it's after Shuas, I'm the mother. Tzion, Turen, Matar Shitchelo Imo. Sorry, I said the pasuk backwards, but you got the point. Me as the mother. Balosches Haneros, the Neros, illuminating Hashem, me as the mother. Mother, mother, mother. Why are we starting the Torah with Roni Visimchi Bas Tzion, us as the daughter? And the Rebbe said, because, surprise, surprise, the daughter receives more than the mother or the sister for a very simple reason. Because when you're in the role of mother or sister and you're doing the spiritual work, it's very connected to you and your energy. And therefore, Hashem's response is limited to you and your energy. But when you're the daughter, you're just doing an act. It's not enmeshed in you. It's not a big accomplishment of yours. It's a simple act. You're putting a coin in the bush go. You're swiping a credit card or writing a check. You're making a bracha as you eat your food, doing all the simple acts of Judaism. So Hashem's response is not connected or limited to me. And that's why it's so huge. And that's why when we do the simple acts of the mitzvahs, when we're in our daughter mode, Hashem's response is from the essence and being of God himself. As the pasuk goes on to say, Roni v'simchi bas Tzion, ki hineni ba v'shachanti b'sochech. I'm coming. I'm going to dwell among you. I, hineni ba, I, God, on my own. You didn't invite me. You didn't call me. If you invited me and called me, I'd have to be limited to you. But you didn't invite me and call me. I'm coming on my own. And it's me and my essence and being. And this, we said, connects really because on a very subtle level, when you're in your sister-mother mode, you're learning Torah, you're being Meister Nefesh, it's a very big spiritual avodah. And you can sort of feel, wow for the service, wow for you being able to do the service. And that slight wow is a slight ego that's a big limitation. And when you're the daughter and you're doing these simple mitzvahs, and she's responding by giving you his very essence and being, you just are so nullified. It's not like you feel this wow that I put the coin in the pushka or am eating kosher or am keeping Shabbos. To me, that's just the fabric of my life. It's not giving me a wow. It's just what I do. So as such, I'm doing these little things and Hashem is responding with his essence and being, who am I? What am I? I have no wow for what I'm doing or for who am I that I'm doing it. I'm just so overwhelmed that Hashem is responding this way. So I'm so nullified. And that nullification is very critical because that nullification allows that the essence and being of God that's coming down to me because I did the mitzvah actually be absorbed inside of me. And then we said, wait a minute. We are saying the bas, the daughter, is so special. She has such nullification, no ego at all. That's why she can absorb the essence and being of God. We just said like 5 minutes before that the mother is so special because she has such nullification and that's fueling her self-sacrifice. So make up your mind. Is the mother the embodiment of nullification? Is the daughter the embodiment of nullification? Seemingly, the mother has much more nullification than the daughter. So why are we saying that the daughter, the bas, because she's doing these simple mitzvahs and Hashem responds so much and she's so nullified, why is her nullification seemingly superior to the mother's? The Rebbe says, when we, the Jewish people, said Nasa v'nishma, that was our nullification to God himself. And as explained in Chassidus, it was a very, very high level nullification. It was the entirety of our being nullified to God himself. That's very, very high, very spiritual, very holy. The nullification of the daughter is much simpler than that. It's just like you nullify to doing the right actions. So why are we lifting up the daughter's nullification when the mother's is a much more spiritually high nullification? Because again, the very fact that you are creating such nullification means it's coming from you. It's enmeshed in you. That's the limitation on it. The daughter's nullification, me in my daughter mode, when I'm nullified to Hashem, even my nullification has nothing to do with me. My nullification is coming from Hashem. So learning this mimer, it's definitely something that gave me pause to stop and think on this idea, because it's like, this is so, I wouldn't even say counterintuitive. I would say counter everything we always think, because obviously we know when we've learned in so many places the advantage of our avodah. And yes, of course, we know that our avodah is far more limited than what Hashem chooses to gift us with. But it's our avodah, and that's so precious to Hashem. We, with our small little hands, did this. Wow, that's so wonderful. He's so impressed. He's so touched. He can give us the picture-perfect Judaism, but that's coming from him. Our avodah has such power. But here in this mimer, the Rebbe looks at it from the other angle. And of course, both angles exist. And the Rebbe says, but it's so much more powerful because the bittul of a daughter is not created by you. The bittul of the daughter is coming from Hashem. And because the bittul of the daughter is coming from Hashem, wow, you can't get such bittul created by man. This is a bittul created by God. And that's why it is supremely, supremely powerful. And obviously, of course, both, as I'm saying, are correct. So the Rebbe says, when Hashem said, Jews, you're mine, I took you out of Egypt, you're my slaves, it doesn't just mean that we accepted Hashem's sovereignty because he took us out of Mitzrayim. When Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim, we were, so to speak, forced to be his slaves. And of course, that happened primarily by Matan Torah. We were forced to be nullified to Hashem. So is it coming from me? No, not really. The nullification of the daughter was coming from Hashem. And it's a more limited nullification than the mother's Nasa V'Nishma spiritual heights. It's literally a nullification that I do the actions of the mitzvahs. The mother saying, Nasa V'Nishma, Hashem, whatever you want, I'm on board. I have no clue what you want, but I'm on board, is a very high nullification. It's not nullification only in action. It's in my whole entire existence. When we said Nasa V'Nishma to Hashem, we gave Hashem our all. We gave Hashem our whole existence, our whole being. We're saying the daughter's has a power the mother's doesn't have? Yeah, the Rebbe says we are saying that. Despite everything we just said about the greatness of the mother in creating this on her own, not just to the actions, but to the Eibishter, not just a piece of self, but her very essence and being, but by the daughter, Hashem made us his slaves. And when Hashem is initiating, the power is absolute. So when Hashem is initiating our bittul, when Hashem is initiating our nullification, because he is making us nullified, that is the truest, ultimate, most strong nullification. And the whole idea, again, if we say the daughter, is like the daughter has nothing of her own. She's the recipient. She's just receiving what someone is giving her. So this nullification she received. She received this from Hashem. Because Hashem said, Jews, I'm choosing you. You're mine. You're my servants. And when we said Nasa V'Nishma, we said, Hashem, we're choosing you. We're nullified to you. We are nullified to you with everything we have. And that's so great and beautiful and Mesiras Nefesh, and we're the mother and we're crowning Hashem. And this is so amazing and wonderful because Hashem chose us and nullified us with his strength, not with ours. And that's a very significant point the Rebbe says, which connects back to what we said in the beginning of the Mimer, that Roni Visimchi Bas Tzion. Remember, the Alter Rebbe said, what's this Bas Tzion business? Or why is this the Haftarah of Hanukkah? Because Bas Tzion is the Jews in Galus. And we said in our Mimer, well, Jews in Galus has nothing to do with us. We're talking about Baal Oischa. We're talking about right after Matan Torah. We're not in Galus now, but we will be. The Jews will go to Galus. So this energy of being the Bas, that our bittul doesn't come from us, that our bittul comes from Hashem, this has stood with us throughout all the times. I mean, we've been in Galus over 1900 years, and we're still around, and we're still vital, and we're strong, and we're energized, and we love Hashem, and we serve Hashem. And all these Jews that left Hashem are coming back to Hashem. And how in the world is that possible? The Rebbe says, especially our generation, the heels of the coming of Mashiach, when the concealments are so enormous. And the Rebbe says, you know how enormous the concealments are? They're too big for us. They're too big for us to handle. There is no rational reason why Klal Yisrael, why the Jewish people are still serving Hashem, why the Jewish people are still committed, why we didn't break the engagement, why we still love Hashem and are doing everything for him and are identifying ourselves as his people. It makes no sense. And the Rebbe says, you know how it's happening? Because Hashem chose us. Because Hashem gave us a God-given bittul. Our bittul as the daughter, again, as the mother, it's the bittul I create, and I'm gifting Hashem, and I'm self-sacrificing, and I'm crowning Hashem with my nasa and nishma crowns. And as the daughter, I'm receiving the bittul from Hashem. And because the bittul is Hashem's, so to speak, because it comes from his end and not mine, it's limitless. What do you mean the bittul coming from Hashem? Hashem chose us to be his servants. Hashem chose us to be nullified to him. And that bittul, that nullification, has no limits. So if Klal Yisrael, if the Jewish people have been surviving on the bittul, on the nullification of us choosing Hashem, the Rebbe says, that nullification would not have cut it, would not have made it. Golus is just too hard. But because the bittul, we have that bittul also. I mean, obviously, we're the daughter and we're the mother. It's not like make a choice and be either or. We've got both advantages. So as the mother, we created it. We're bittul, not just in our actions, in our essence and being, to the essence and being of God himself. And it's amazing, and it's a gift, and it's self-sacrifice, and it's crowning Hashem. But it's made by us, so it's weaker. That level of nullification would not have survived Golus. We would have fallen apart and, in simple terms, become mixed among the nations. But because we also have the daughter piece, and the daughter piece means Hashem says, hey, you're mine. Avadaihem, you're my servants. I chose you. I took you out of Egypt. You belong to me. So I'm giving you bittul. And the nullification I'm giving you isn't limited to you. It's from me. It's limitless. And with that limitless nullification of us as the daughter, Roni Visimchi bas Tzion, the Jew in Golus, with that, we can withstand and survive. And we are. And in other words, what the Rebbe is saying is both of these are Matan Torah phenomena, right? Our question was, the Rebbe doesn't explicitly answer this, but this is what you understand from the Maimer. Because remember, initially the Rebbe said bas Tzion, the Jew in Golus? What's it? We just got Matan Torah. We're flying high. We're the mother. Batar Shitra Lo Imo. We're free. Charos. What's this bas Tzion, Jew in Golus situation here? But what the Rebbe is saying is, both of these modalities are connected to Matan Torah. The daughter connects to Matan Torah. Hashem says, I picked you. I redeemed you from Egypt. You're mine. You're my people. You're my nation. You're my servants. You're my slaves. When did that happen? By Matan Torah. And we are the mothers by Matan Torah because we said Naasav and Nishma as the precursor to Matan Torah. So Matan Torah is both the time when we ascended to be the mother, when we're receiving as the daughter. So yes, Matan Torah connects to us as the mother, Tzion, Batar Shitra Lo Imo, but it also connects to being the daughter because Hashem says, by Matan Torah, you're mine. I took you out of Egypt, you're mine. So we're the daughter by Matan Torah and we're the mother by Matan Torah. And then the Rebbe says that actually it's as if we have this Haftarah right after Matan Torah, Roni Visimchi bas Tzion. Even though Matan Torah is the day of our chasana, is the crown that we crowned him, is the mother, because now that we're understanding that the daughter means this ultimate absolute bittul, it's as if we could say that through the bittul that we attained before Matan Torah, Naasav and Nishma, right? Naasav and Nishma was what enabled us to get the Torah. So Naasav and Nishma happened before Matan Torah. That's when we were the mothers. That's when we crowned Hashem. That's when we had that absolute bittul made by us, made by man. So we have this ultimate man-made bittul, Naasav and Nishma, which allows Matan Torah, which allows us to ascend even higher, to be chosen to be Hashem's daughters. And to get an even more intense bittul, the bittul of the daughter, God-made bittul, which has enabled us, bas Tzion, to withstand Golus. So the Rebbe here is sort of pulling all the strands together. I'll say it one more time to see the clarity, because this is obviously a big chiddush here. Without this mimer, it just sort of seems like, I don't know. I think we're the mother, and here we're the daughter, and I don't see how it connects. The Rebbe says, no, this all works beautifully. We have Naasav and Nishma. We say, Hashem, we're totally bittul. We don't know what we're signing up for. We're yours. We are choosing you. Our essence and being is totally nullified to you, and not just to the will, but to the master of the will, as Hasidus always explains this concept very often. not just batal to the Ratzon, but to the Baal HaRatzon. So very, very high level nullification that the Jews created prior to the giving of the Torah, which, as explained in many places of Chassidus, is what allowed us to have the giving of the Torah. So before Matan Torah, right, like a few days before, right, 2 days before, we ascended to Mother. And then we got the Torah. And when we got the Torah, Hashem says, oh, you're mine. I took you out of Egypt. You're my slaves. And I am nullifying you to me. So you did the work to become the mother. You achieved the bittul of mother to be able to create the reality of Matan Torah and be on an even higher level where Hashem makes you his daughter and thereby gives you an even deeper bittul, a God-made bittul that's so powerful, Bas Tzion, you withstand all of Galus. I remember we said this mimer was said on the 15th of Sivan, and the 15th of Sivan marks when the Rebbe Rayatz was arrested for his ultimate incarceration that culminated, of course, in the 3rd of Tammuz, Gimel Tammuz, and then the 12th and 13th of Tammuz, Yuz Beis Yud Gimel Tammuz of 1927. This ultimate incarceration, this ultimate liberation started on the 15th of Sivan. And in honor of that, the Rebbe said this mimer. Now, the Rebbe does not explain the connection anywhere in the mimer, but I think we could possibly say that the Rebbe is alluding like it's been a really impossible galus. It's been really, really, really rough, really hard, really intense. And if we think of what happened 15th of Sivan, 1927, when the Rebbe Rayatz was taken away in that black car to the most feared, notorious, fortress of the NKVD, where people didn't come out of there alive. And that night, how many religious figures, so to speak, were murdered. Wow. That's the Golus. And that's the Golus we withstand. That's the Golus the Rebbe Rayatz withstood. And as we know, as the Rebbe explains, that he defeated communism, as in the talk, the Sikha of Gimel Tammuz of 1991, how it was a battle and he won and communism was broken then. And it's everything we went through. Of course, we see it so clearly. You read the Tzorach Aliyah going down to go up, the down of the 15th of Sivan to create the up of the 3rd of Tammuz, of the 12th and 13th of Tammuz. But how did we have the power to survive such a seeming down? Roni Visimchi Bas Tzion. Hashem gave us that power 3,300 some years before. Because when he chose us, when he made us his daughters, he gave us the power to withstand Galus, Bas Tzion. So in essence, we finished the Mimer. But then the Rebbe adds another PS, which is also a beautiful point and which also obviously connects to the idea of the Rebbe Rayatz, whose energy is the 15th of Sivan, the day of his incarceration. And the Rebbe throws in another question, so to speak. In essence, we're done. Now let me give you an extra bonus concept, which is very beautiful. The pasuk says, Roni Visimchi Bas Tzion. This entire mimer, we didn't touch the words Roni Visimchi. Roni Visimchi means rejoice. We were focusing on Bas Tzion. Roni Visimchi Bas Tzion means do the Torah mitzvahs, not just with bittul, but with joy. So Roni Visimchi, rejoice. Bas, Bas is that bittul, Bas is that nullification, but Tzion, do the Torah mitzvahs. Tzion, the sign of God, the Torah mitzvahs, do them with joy. Roni Visimchi. And a person could say, we're saying we're nullified, and we're saying we're not nullified because we chose to be nullified. We're nullified because God's nullified. And then you're saying rejoice. Like we're saying, wow, Golus is so hard. And it's insane to think we survived Golus. And the only way we survive the trials and pressures and insanity of our exile is because God gave us a nullification that's him and not us. Because if it was us, we'd never have survived. And then we're supposed to do all this with joy? Roni Visimchi? How in the world could this be Roni Visimchi? Roni Visimchi means like I have a tainug, I have a geschmack, I have a pleasure, I have a chayas in my Torah mitzvahs. That's what we're talking about. Bas Tzion means you're the boss. You've got nothing of your own. Hashem chose you. You're not deciding to be his slave. He's making you his slave. It's total Kabbalah soul. Not if you want a Kabbalah soul. Hashem's just forcing it. That's why it's so powerful, because it's coming from Hashem. Okay, it's very powerful. But I didn't choose this. I didn't sign up for this. This is the Nasa V'Nishma. This is the Bas. So how do you connect Bas Tzion with joy? Roni Visimchi. And the Rebbe says, he throws in a whole new explanation of Bas Tzion. And he said, oh, by the way, there's another way we can look at the term Bas Tzion. Until now, we said Bas, there's the sister, the mother, but then there's the daughter, Bas Tzion, like Turen and Tzion, Roni Visimchi Bas Tzion, the Jews in Galus, and the recipients have nothing of their own, therefore have absolute bittul, because it's bittul from Hashem, just doing the simple act of the Maisa mitzvahs. But there's a whole other way of looking at these words, Bas Tzion. Tzion means the tzaddikim. And Bas Tzion means those connected to the tzaddikim. The Rebbe said, question, Roni Visimchi, how can we be joyous? We're the daughter. We have nothing of our own. Hashem is giving us, forcing us, choosing us an intense bittul, because it's not coming from us, it's coming from him. So with all that Kabbalah soul that's totally coming from Hashem, how are we supposed to be rejoicing? To rejoice is joy, happiness, alive, energy, totally different energy, totally different vibration, frequency than Hashem chose us. And hey, you're my slaves. I took you out of Egypt and I'm gifting you with this intensity of nullification. So the Rebbe says, the other understanding of Bas Tzion is that Tzion is a tzaddikim, and Bas Tzion are those connected to the tzaddikim. And the tzaddik, his job, especially if the tzaddik is the leader of the generation, like the Rebbe doesn't say this here, I'm saying, like the Rebbe Rayatz, whose day is the 15th of Sivan, because that's the day he went into exile, which means the beginning of the Simi descent to come to the ascent and liberation of the 3rd Tammuz and 12th and 13th of Tammuz. So this is a Rebbe Rayatz's day. It sounds funny to say that the day he was arrested is a day of him, but yeah, when you go down is to go up. So the down is part of the up. So we celebrate the down because that created the up. So this is his energy day. So the Rebbe is saying all tzaddikim, and especially the leaders of the generation, because that's their job. Their job is to bring godliness to us. They want to give chayas to every Jew, and especially they're giving chayas to those Jews who reach out and proactively connect to them. So if you are connected to the leader of the generation, Roni Visimchi Bas Tzion, because you're Bas Tzion, because you are connected to the tzaddik, Roni Visimchi, the tzaddik is giving you the ability not just to do your service, but to do your service with joy. And the Rebbe says, on one level, it's a Giloy Elokus. It's an energy. He's giving you godliness, and through that godliness, he's giving you the strength to do Torah mitzvahs with joy. But additionally, the Rebbe says, it's also a power that the Rebbe is removing all the challenges we have in the realm of children, finances, health, life, all the challenges. So he's removing those challenges because then it's a lot easier for us to serve with joy. Like Rambam says, why does Hashem give us these physical brachas? What we're doing, physical brachas, that's like small change. But he's getting rid of the stuff that make it hard for us to enjoy them, because we're distracted, because we're bogged down. So Roni Visimchi Bas Tzion, the tzaddik, especially if it's the Rebbe, especially if you're makusher to the Rebbe, is giving you the koyach to serve with joy, and is giving you the bracha that those obstacles and barriers that would prevent the joy in any area in our physical life should be removed so we could serve Hashem with joy. And the Rebbe concludes by saying that, and it's very interesting because this is like the PS to the mimer, right? I mean, PS, meaning we had this whole mimer of, it's not a long mimer, of 5 oisias, and we concluded this beautiful thought, and then we add this point, and this is the point the Rebbe concludes on, which means the Rebbe says, bottom line, through our connection, through our hiskashrus to the tzaddikim, especially, of course, the Nesiim, as the Rebbe says, in every generation, and especially our hiskashrus to the Rebbe Rayatz, the leader of our generation, which, of course, means our hiskashrus to the Rebbe. The Rebbe says all these barriers should be nullified. The very fact and power of our connection to the tzaddik, that is enough power, that very hiskashrus is enough power to nullify all the obstacles and all the barriers till the ultimate, of course, obstacle and barrier of Golus itself, to be led by the Rebbe to the Geula. So I was like, wow, this mimer gave me so much in terms of our power, the power of our mitzvahs, Our mitzvahs have such power, our simple mitzvahs, the power of our bittul, God-driven bittul, that we do have the bittul to withstand the intensity of the galus, and the brachos and power and beauty of connecting to the tzaddik, to the Rebbe, giving us not just that we're serving, we can and obviously do serve with joy, and that should remove all the barriers in our personal reality, and ultimately the barriers of galus. It was amazing because the whole mimer didn't touch on the word Roni Visimchi, and it was like parenthetical to the mimer, but it's such a powerful way the Rebbe is like bringing that in, because that's, of course, I mean, that's the Rebbe, Roni Visimchi.